Start.
Well, hello and great morning, great afternoon, great evening to you wherever you may be on this amazing global planet. Super excited. My name is Lois Kofi. I'm a 12-week year certified trainer and coach and success sales trainer. I'm here today partnering with Mr. Deepak Verma, who's from India. So if you're on Indian time right now, it's 9 p.m. And I'm super grateful for my connection with Deepak. I met him this year through BNI. And we both have passion for helping you be the best version of yourself and really setting you up for the best decade ever. I ask you this question, do you have 2020 vision? Are you looking ahead, focusing on your future, living in the now, living in the moment, but also wanting to create more, get outside of your comfort zone and really truly stretch yourself and be the best version of yourself. So we're starting now here in the fourth quarter, the last 12 weeks of the year, helping you prepare to jumpstart, not just to start, but to jumpstart, to just radically kick off this next year and this next decade. As we record this right now, I believe we only have 69 or 70 days left in the decade, in the year of 2019. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our featured presenter today, Mr. Deepak Verma. He is a trainer and owner of his own training company, Techno Spirit. And forgive me one second, I apologize, it's still loading. Here we go. So he provides corporate trainings, he provides business networking support, he provides transformational coaching, which I have personally experienced and I fully endorse. He's an amazing public speaker, has great communication skills, and through his training, he also offers up alternative healings and therapies. He's a globally certified heartfulness trainer and brings the element of relaxation, introspection, and meditation into each program and training that he provides and really truly helps change oneself from within. Techno Spirit, again, is a coaching, consulting, and training company. And their approach to any training session, be it an individual, college, or corporate, is to identify the need and area of excellence. So there's an initial discussion which will give a direction, and after the training, interventions and modules are designed accordingly for you. You will definitely be do and have so much more better results created in your life, personally and professionally. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and step out of the way here and allow Deepak to do the training today. Thank you so much, Deepak.
Hey, thanks, Louis, for the kind words, and thank you each and everyone for joining on this call. So we're going to start the series of calls every Thursday evening, 8:30 Pacific time and 9 p.m. Sorry, morning 8:30, I think, Pacific time and 9 p.m. India time, to ensure that we get the best of the entire globe. And the objective is to really to jumpstart 2020. And I thought I'll just share just a few slides before I, kind of hand it over to all of you. So, Louis, can you see this, the first slide?
Yes, I sure can. It looks beautiful.
Wonderful. So that's the only slide that's beautiful. And after that, it's just a few words, that I have in place. So we're looking at trying to jumpstart 2020. And we know that the odds are getting higher. Economies are also getting challenging. So we see year on year, the leap is going to turn into a leap of faith. And it's important that we cover this void with some very simple techniques. So before we go global, because I know all of you here are wanting to go global. Hi, Eliza. Thank you for joining.
Hello.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I'm great. Sorry I'm late. I was actually doing a presentation and I just wanted to hop on real quick.
Please. You've just come at the right time. So Louis just introduced me and we just started off on Jumpstart 2020. And I'm from India. And I've been knowing Louis for the last many months, thanks to BNI. So I just have a very short presentation on what we can do to jumpstart 2020. Does it sound good, Lisa? So we're going to go straight ahead. Yeah, we're going to go straight ahead. So we call it the 4C's to move global. And the 4C's are very simple. It's quite intuitive if you look at it. And the first C is competence. And this is very important to have the right skill sets and to ensure that we build in the right competence in ourselves as well as in the work that we do. Now, a lot of times people equate competence with the marketability, or with the kind of business openings, etc., that are there. But here, competence really refers to the passion that is there in you. Is your competence in line with your passion? Because unless it's not there in line with your passion, you'll never be able to get competent better and better. So you see a lot of people now going into the areas which seem to be competent for the world, but it may not be competent for themselves, their own skill sets. So you could be the best gardener, it's fine, it doesn't matter. But if you're having a passion towards gardening and you have the strong competence, you're sure to build up a lot of skill sets around it, and you can make a billions through gardening itself. So competence, which is the first C, is building up that skill sets which is in line with your passion. And that brings us to the second C, which is credibility. It kind of flows into credibility, because unless you put in the passion into your work and into the skill sets that you're doing, you'll never come across as credible, sincere, loyal, and trusted to your work. And this is the second C, which is required to ensure that we kind of connect to the people around us. So the competence leads to the credibility, and many times we feel, okay, this is enough. These two are enough, until we come across the third C, and the third C is clarity. So there are a lot of people doing a lot of esoteric stuff, and unfortunately, they're the only ones who understand what they're doing. I've come across many of these. In fact, I came across just a couple of weeks ago with a business consultant, and it took me 1 hour for me to understand what exactly is he doing. And he's been trying to explain this to various people in probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and I'm sure he's not made any headway, because it's such a unique thing that he's doing. He's not very clear about what he's doing. So the clarity has to come across in very simple uh, terms and words which can be understood by the mass majority, because we should realize that the people we're interacting with across all around us may not understand the terminology that we use, or may not be endowed with the same kind of knowledge or the same kind of words that we have. So clarity really is reaching out to the masses, and you should be able to explain to even a 15-year-old what you're doing in very simple words, instead of being very complicated. So so that we began with a sense of competence, which is our passion, and which we kind of look at, which led to the credibility which we have built up over the years. And finally, we have some sort of clarity into what we are doing and achieving. And that leads us to the final C, and that C is connectedness. So especially this works, the fourth C works well is when you're interacting in a global market and we're trying to get global connections. What exactly is the connectedness that we have across all our business networks? And this is becoming more and more important now in the current day world, where connectedness really is the key to a lot of business openings, and a lot of credibility that you can acquire just by being well connected in whichever geography or whichever industry that we are in. And it flows in a sequence. Having built the right competence, you get the right credibility in place. And it's important to be very clear, both in our mind and also in our communication messages, in very simple terminologies. And finally, it leads to connectedness. And this was a very simple, short presentation I had, to kind of jumpstart 2020. And with that, actually, I open the floor to any queries that we may have on any of these C's. And also, we would like to kind of have an interaction to see where we can kind of help connect people across geographies and across the globe, to ensure that it's a win-win for each of us. So with that, I hand it over to Louis and others.
Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I do know I have a couple of team members on here, and I'd love for them to ask any questions about expanding globally. They are part of my global team. And Lisa, Boya, if you guys have any questions about what Deepak just shared, he's an expert in global expansion as well as the 4C's, obviously. And I really appreciated your message and talking about competence. You know, the big thing for a lot of especially new business owners, like my team members, if they're new to a boomerang or whatever it is that they're doing, you know, it's not always the competence isn't always conscious yet, right? They go from unconscious competence to conscious competence. You know, can you speak to that a little bit of how does someone that's just starting a brand new global business, is there a way to get to conscious competence faster? And like you said, creating then that clear message when they're talking to people about their business opportunity. Did you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I heard you very well.
Okay. And actually, Lisa or Boy, if you guys have questions specific to that, because we only have 10 more minutes for open Q&A, and then I have to run myself. So Lisa, Boy, do you guys have any questions when it comes to the competence and having a clear message?
I think for me, confidence might come from right now. What I'm struggling with in my business is actually identifying the customer that I can best serve with my business. So my confidence is in that identification process, if you want to speak to that.
Okay, I heard what you said. So your competence is in the identification of the competence itself, or competition identification of the customer.
Customer, of identifying my ideal customer.
Okay. So that comes at the next step. So when you have the 4C's built into you, you would necessarily have to do another study, which we'll probably do a week later, on trying to get to the market, which is the outer ring, or the outer environment around us. Identifying the right markets, identifying the right customers, the ideal customers, and seeing how we can get a message across. So, so at this point, competence is really.
Yeah, I think we might have someone who isn't on mute. Guys, if you can make sure you're on mute so there's no distractions, that'd be amazing. Or if Deepak, if you can make sure everyone's on mute right now.
For sure.
Well, and I can speak to that really too quickly, Lisa. For a lot of it is self-discovery. Like, I'll give you an example. When I became a personal trainer, I worked with everyone, right? Because I didn't have competence yet. I didn't have experience. So I was ignorance on fire on some level. So I talked to literally everyone. That's why we encourage you to talk to everybody in your warm market first. However, you don't want to stay there, right? You need to add more people to your funnel, your pipeline, creating that consistent stream and flow. That's why we also recommend you read the book, The Parable of the Pipeline. Mr. Bugs has recommended that time and time again. Great book to help you understand, this is why you add new contacts to your database every day, and you self-discover through that process. You gain that clarity through that process of being able to find who is my target customer. I've been in sales and with my personal training career, it probably took me about 7 years, to be quite honest, to find my stride and to find my niche. The good news with this, we do have a global market to work with at our fingertips. So you can talk to people about travel, you can ask questions, you can form those relationships, ask for referrals. And I actually sat down and did an exercise myself yesterday that I would encourage you to do at least once a week. Sit down and reflect, like I talked about on Saturday in the training. Sit down and reflect on your last 10 best customers and look at them, look at their demographics. Look, are they married? Are they single? Are they traveling for business? Or are they traveling with their families? Are they booking vacations for only like holidays and, spring breaks? Or are they more free flowing in their travel? But not only look at their demographics, also look at what do they do for profession. Are they an influencer? Like I wrote down my top 10 influencers that I'm now going to go after and ask for referrals for in BNI. For example, do they have a Pinterest page that is just overflowing with travel pictures and their latest vacations? Do they have a huge following on Instagram? Travel agents, looking for those people who have access to my last best customer. They know them before I do, or they just have a lot of power and influence, and I wanna prospect and build relationships with them. So it took me 6 months to gain some clarity on that and think much bigger. So I encourage you to sit with that every week to help you gain that clarity. And again, the competence is just going to come from talking to people and really figuring out who is your ideal customer over time.
Great, thank you.
And Deepak, feel free to add in whatever you have.
Sure. It's awesome. I mean, I think you really cracked it, because unless we, you have this personality, test where you try to understand how exactly does the ideal customer look like, and what is the demography, where does he or she come from, age bracket, what is the kind of look, feel, eat, habits, social, the social habits, etc. So once you really iron it down, and there's a huge questionnaire around it, probably next time I'll share that, you can actually come up to the answer exactly what you're looking at, Lisa, as to, you can bang, look on just basis, seeing the social habits and seeing probably the various aspects of a particular person. You can see if he or she fits into being your ideal customer, depending on whatever product you have.
And do you have any other thoughts, Deepak? Because you're seasoned at this too. Is how can someone in building a global business, any other tips on going from, I don't want to say incompetence, because I believe we all have our own competence, but essentially it's unconscious competence, to go from unconscious to conscious. Is there any tips you have to get there faster, besides what I said? Any other thoughts?
So actually, the ideal thing is to really put in a passion in your work. I think that's what kind of exudes. And being an alternate healer myself, I'd like to put in, something which is quite unique and different. Somehow when you put a passion into your work, it seems to have, it seems to exude out of your personality, and seems to touch people around you, even without their knowing it. So that's something which is kind of invisible, and which kind of radiates from your person, vis-a-vis you doing the same work without passion. So you have two people, one doing it with passion and one without passion. And although they're putting the same efforts, they're meeting the same people, they are probably doing the same things, that, in an identical manner. But the one who is putting the heart into it somehow seems to have a kind of a edge over the person who's not doing it. So passion is the key, putting your heart into it and doing it with a lot of dedication and commitment is really the key, which I've kind of learned.
That's a great point. Yes, without passion, people, they don't buy what you're selling. They buy you and your passion. They will follow you anywhere. That's why you and I have connected. Deepak is our passion for helping improve and impact people's lives, mentally, physically, spiritually, and then of course financially. That's why we keep working together, and why we built this is to really help people gain that clarity and find and connect with their passion. One tip, Lisa and Bolia, that I'll give to you for me, and I'm getting better at this. I'm certainly not 100% at it. I just every day, whether you have a vision board or not, the vision board is nice to look at and connect with that emotion within your heart that emotes that passion, and that's going to drive you and fuel you, right? We're fueled by passion. However, writing it down every day, like rewriting your vision, like with my move to California, I wrote it down and or spoke it every day. I am so happy and grateful that we live in Southern California. Now, there were some other elements that I also spoke, like specifically describing the house and living on the ocean. You know, we're not in that exact house, and we're not living on the ocean yet. So now I'm gaining more focus and clarity on speaking that into existence, right? And manifesting that through daily connection with writing it down, even if it's just every other day. Saying, I am so happy and grateful I am a sapphire. I am so happy and grateful I am debt free. I am so happy and grateful I am a diamond. I am so happy and grateful I'm attracting sharp and ambitious go-givers that just fall into my business, right? And saying it with passion, conviction, looking in the mirror, saying it out loud, and I even recorded it. Mr. Bean showed us that. I recorded it on my phone, my voice memo, and I can listen to it every day so I hear myself. There's all of these different ways that we learn: visually, kinesthetic, auditory. So definitely, that's another tip to help bring that passion to life. Because trust me, there's days where I don't have a lot of passion, but if I keep focusing on the clarity of my vision statement and speaking it, writing it, looking at it on my vision board, then that has helped me keep going.
So I want to actually, throw the ball back to Lisa and Valia, and you can even use the chat message, for that. So, what are the top 3 expectations, or what are the top 3 visions that you would have for 2020, which are your ideal? Just assuming that you are given a free hand. What are the top 3 statements that you would really want to write down, pen down, or talk, and I thought we'll just, take a look at that before we close.
Yes, I got to jump in 1 minute. So if you guys if you want to send it on the chat, and if I have to run, Deepak, I'll entrust you to close it out with them.
Sure. So I see some coming in.
Awesome. Yeah, Blalia's going to share her top 3.
Want to share her, and Lisa, you want to talk?
I can do it through talking. I was actually typing it into the chat. But my top 3 are to get to Sapphire within my business, to build up where I'm covering all my expenses through my network marketing business would be number 1. The second one would be to get to a healthy optimum weight. And my third one is to find a mate. So those are my top 3.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Awesome, Lisa. Thank you so much for sharing. It's beautiful.
It's wonderful. Get to Sapphire, wait, and made. I think short, sweet, and beautiful.
Yep.
And I'll just add one more thing before I jump off, guys. This is a gift to you, and also an edification tool. Anybody that's a TSA on my team gets to be a part of this. And Deepak has been so gracious to help lead this with me, because he has a very, very unique gifting and skill set. And we are admittedly building this to be global. So if you have people in Africa, if you have people in Europe, if you have people in Australia, we tried to pick times that would capture at least, I think, most of one waking hour for any time zone. So you can invite prospects time for free, maybe 2 times. And then after that, if anybody's not on our team, Deepak and I are charging a monthly fee for this. So this is not free for anyone other than whoever, Deepak deems it free for my TSAs. And then we can have, just like BNI, you have 1 or 2 visits for free before you must apply and be a part of the community. And I am also we're putting together a Facebook group, and we're just getting started. So this is the very, very humble beginnings of what we're creating. So you guys are witnessing history here, because this is something that we plan to keep on going and leveraging. I'm leveraging the 12-week yearbook and still encourage you to read it and internalize it and just repeat every 12 weeks the same process and helping you get better at that. I'll be the featured presenter next week, so you can use that as you close out. Next week, Thursday is the last day of the month. We want to close out the month strong. So you can invite those prospects and say, this is the kind of stuff that we get from our team. Not only do you have Mr. Bean's leadership calls on Monday and the company's training, but this is something that, you know, I'm really hopeful that you guys can use as a recruiting tool as well.
Wonderful. And next week, we're going to have a lot of people from India also joining in. So Bwali has written her top three visions to achieve the rank as a fire, more concrete personal development plan, and be a better communicator. So that's her
awesome. I've got to bounce, guys. Thank you so much, Deepak. You know, feel free. Awesome. Thank you, Bwali.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Invite your team. Anybody else? I know it's maybe not at the best time of day for everyone, but we have recorded this, and Deepak will share it with me, and I'll share it with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa, Bwali, and Louis.
Thank you, my friend. Have a beautiful night over there in India.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.